Hi guys! This week's video is a print of Ladybug and Chat Noir from Miraculous Ladybug. I know I've drawn these two on my channel before, but I've never drawn them in a print, so hopefully this is different enough to consider watching again, but yeah, I'll have something new next week, so don't worry about that. Anyway, so this print is completely digital from start to finish. I sketched on my tablet in Photoshop, and then brought the file into Paint Pro to do the lines, as you see here. The reason I did this is, if you haven't seen my other videos and don't know, Paint Pro has something called a line stabilizer, which just makes it way easier to make smoother lines when doing line art. That's the only reason I use a different program for line art. Like, Photoshop has line stabilizers, but they're either paid for or not available for Mac or something like that, and yeah, I just have to use what's freely available to me, which is Paint Pro, which is a good program. I recommend it if you haven't used it. So, one of the things I really like about Medibang is this circle tool right here. I find it very intuitive and easy to use, and also just a really convenient tool compared to other circle tools I've seen. It's really worth a shot if you're having trouble getting the other kinds of circle tools to work. I definitely recommend it just for its convenience. Like, I used it so many times in this piece, even for things you wouldn't normally expect to have to use a circle tool for, like the curve along Ladybug's neckline for where her suit ends and her skin begins. But yeah, anyway. So this is actually the second attempt I did at doing a Miraculous Ladybug piece for a print. My first attempt was very different. It was in front of the moon, like, it had Ladybug standing kind of heroically in front of the moon with Chat Noir kind of crouching beside her. And I did like that when I started it, but then I realized that the posing was really kind of flat and stiff compared to what I really wanted to get from this piece. So after months of considering what to do, I finally ended up deciding to just start over from the beginning, you know, try and get it right, and I think this second attempt really works out much better. And that's good. I'm glad that my second try worked out a lot better than I imagined the first time. I had to kind of drastically alter my idea, but I still think that that was better than going with the original idea and just going with something that wasn't working in the first place. So yeah, I guess I can recommend people to try going in a completely different direction if your piece just isn't working. Like, I don't really like doing that a lot of the time, but hey, if it works, right? And sometimes when it's not working, you want it to work. I think that makes sense. I hope so. So for the coloring part, I was pretty torn on how I wanted to color this. I started with just a bunch of flat color, which is what I'm doing here. I put that in with the fill bucket and then manually got rid of all the little parts that it didn't fill by myself. I'm sure there's an easier way to do it, but I don't know what that is, so if you know, please tell me in the comments. That would save me a lot of time. But yeah, I didn't know if I wanted to do cell shading like the Team Rocket print I did, or if I wanted to do a more painterly sort of shading, or something in between like the Danganronpa print I did. So yeah, I kind of sat on this for a day or two, just kind of wondering where to go from here. And then I decided to try something completely different and use the airbrush tool for most, if not all, the shading I did. And at first, as you could see on Chat Noir, it was kind of weird, like it wasn't really working, but then I kind of took another break and tried again on Ladybug, but this time I tried kind of going in more detailed, like just keeping at it when it wasn't working and trying to shade as best I could, and somehow that worked that time. So yeah, all of this was done with the airbrush tool, and I think it looks pretty good. I mean, a lot of tutorials and stuff say to kind of shy away from the airbrush tool, that it doesn't look very good, at least that's kind of what I've heard from my experience, but I think people just don't know how to use it because, you know, if you just blend and kind of be persistent with it, it doesn't look bad. So yeah, that's my 2 cents about that. And here I'm just going in Chat Noir. It's kind of hard to shade black because you don't want it too black that you can't see the lines, but I think I managed to do okay without making his suit look too gray, so hopefully that looks good to you. Anyway, that's about all the time I have to talk about this piece, so I hope you liked it, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!